Speaking about internet application, definitely one has to mention the World Wide Web. World Wide Web is the killer application of the internet, has made the internet so famous and has brought internet into the situation to be a basic communication medium for our modern society. There are many things to explain around, so there are some separate OpenHPI courses about the World Wide Web. So here in the course on internet working, we can only have a very rough view on the World Wide Web and its basic components like HTTP, the protocols on the application layer for transporting web content, HTML and URI. The World Wide Web, or shortly the web, or WWW, was introduced in the beginning of the 19th by Robert Cailliau and Tim Berners-Lee at the European Centre of Nuclear Research on the CERN. The web is huge. It is a globally distributed collection of information and data that may be accessed over the internet, that may be accessed by means of the protocol, the internet protocol, the HTTP protocol. And the data that may be accessed can be static data, can be documents, can be multimedia data, audio data, can be images and others. The web has made the internet the most important communication medium today. And if we look back, then it was the time when the browser, this is the web client, got a graphical user interface which made it so easy to control and to move in the internet. Then internet become very popular. So this intuitively usable graphical user interface. You can click a mouse, you can move things and can in this way control the web. This intuitively usable graphical user interface of the web browser. And the web browser, that is a client of the World Wide Web. The web was also usable by laymen with a very simple way to access information and other internet services. Information comes in the World Wide Web in form of so-called hypermedia documents. Originally, these hypermedia documents are called hypertext documents. This was a time where the information mainly consists of text, but nowadays the information that's transported over the internet is much more multimedia type than text type. Hypermedia documents, and this is exactly what the hyper brings to expression, they can be connected to each other by so-called links. And in this way, the single documents in the web are interconnected by each other and form a network of information. So in this way, if we compare the web with a book, in a book you can have, when you need to order information in sequential order, one page after the other. In the web, the data can be interconnected in very different way, and the user, the consumer of the data, can choose what type of connected information he is interested. So the users can be very easily navigate through this information network, and they do this so by following links, and following links is very simple by click on a certain marked information. So our hypermedia documents are maybe photos, maybe sound, maybe video, maybe documents. They can have also integrate different types of such sources. And this is what the term media stands for. There are hyperlinks, there are connections to other documents in the web. The web documents are designed by a special descriptive language, and this language is the hypertext markup language, is HTML. Hypertext, you see this in the beginning, mainly was used to design text document. The HTML language allows the authors to structure web documents, for example, to make clear what is the headline, what is the paragraph, what are tables, what are included other data types. The hypertext HTML, the hypertext markup language, allows to insert hyperlinks at any part of the document. It allows to insert multimedia components in a document, and up to a certain point they also allow to influence the graphic display. Also, in the right way for the graphics, there is another language responsible. Nowadays, it's possible to go beyond. It's possible to build rich internet applications with the help of web application frameworks. Web application frameworks that provide that over the web applications may used by the distance internet user. The rich internet applications offer functionality in a modular concept which requires less writing of HTML code. So the HTML here, a second component, basic component of the World Wide Web, is responsible to design documents. The documents are stored on globally distributed web servers. In order to locate these web servers and in order to locate a document on this globally distributed web servers, the documents need to be identifiable. And for that purpose, so-called URIs, Uniform Resource Identifiers, are used. They serve for unique identification of the documents, and this unification need to be unique globally, because if a user wants to request a document and the document is described, is identified by its URI, then it should be very clear that this document that URI is used only once. Otherwise, all the internet protocols did not know how they can receive the document. There are special tags. This is in the HTML language which is used to describe documents. It is possible by means such special tags to store references to other documents, and this is done by storing the URI of a document. In this place, the user gets the offer to request this document. So the links use the URI mechanism for identifying the resources. When I spoke about the web server, I already mentioned that also in the World Wide Web application, internet application, client-server model is followed. So access to web documents is organized according to the client-server model. That means the user requests a web document, and the user, for that purposes, has the browser. So the web browser, that is the client of the interaction in the World Wide Web. And the client can be controlled by mouse clicks or by entering an URI. An URL is one version of such a uniform resource identifier. And then the browser contacts the web server that is specified in the URI And then the client requests the document that is stored on this web server, and also the document needs to be specified by this uniform resource identifier or the uniform resource locator. So the server accesses its local file system, and then he sends the file specified in the URL back to the requesting host. Then the browser receives this document over the internet, and then a browser needs to interpret this document and has to display it in the right way. So the browser needs to be able to distinguish what is an image, what is a text, what is a video, and presents this in the right way to the human user, to its human user. When we speak, so we had HTML as a language to describe documents, web documents. We have URIs to specify the documents in the World Wide Web. And now we come to the third component, and this is a protocol. This is a protocol in the Internet application layer, which is used by the web application, and this is the hypertext transfer protocol. So the interaction between the browser and the server is organized by means of this HTTP protocol. This HTTP protocol is a very simple protocol. It is a stateless protocol. It can't remember some interaction which was done before. It belongs to the TCP/IP protocol suite. And the reason to have such a very simple and stateless protocol is to allow a fast interaction. And this fast interaction is done simply in form of question-answer cycles. Request, answer, request, answer. Request the document, answer, send back the document, or send back a failure, an error message saying document is not available or you are not authorized to use. Such simple question-answer cycles, request-response cycles are implemented by the HTTP protocol. HTTP is very important, and HTTP is experienced an ongoing development. So the first HTTP version, this was HTTP version 0.9. It was originated in the beginning of the web in 1989, 1990 at the CERN. Then today's version of HTTP is the version 1.1, and the Internet Engineering Task Force is working on the next protocol. This is the protocol HTTP 2.0. That's the next version of the HTTP network protocol, which is actually under design. And this uses some new techniques, for example, like the SPDY technique. Now, Internet runs by means of the intermediate systems, and all the intermediate systems, the proxy servers, the gateways, and cache storage play an important role for the World Wide Web. They help to increase the efficiency of the HTTP communication. And for example, if we only look to the caches, then to give only an example, if a client requests a document from a server, the server sends out the document, then intermediate systems store this document. And if the client requests same document next time, the intermediate system already responds with a desired document at least as soon as it is efficient. To conclude this very short overview question how to secure the HTTP communication. You know, HTTP is used, for example, also to such applications like e-shopping or online banking. So security is a very important thing. And the most common used approach is so-called HTTPS. And HTTPS, that is the HTTP protocol that's run over the TLS protocol. TLS, Transport Layer Security Protocol. Perhaps you know this better under the name SSL, Secure Socket Layer. This was the protocol that was originally designed by Netscape. And meanwhile, this approach, this security infrastructure design, following the ideas of SSL, is standardized by the Internet authorities in the TLS protocol. And here the idea of this TLS is to provide a secure communication infrastructure based on implementing cryptographic techniques, synchronous, asynchronous. We have no chance to go into detail here, but I invite you to continue this point and to see and to look for more information that's also available here in our book about internet working. And by the way, this TLS infrastructure, security infrastructure, is not only used, it's mainly used by HTTP, but it's not only used, it provides an integrated security infrastructure approach for internet services.